Everyone wants to know what strategy made me profitable and what indicator I used, what setup I trade, what time frame I look at. But the truth is, none of those things actually made the biggest difference. It was psychology. I know it sounds very cliche, but when I first started trading, a lot of people used to tell me, oh, 90% of trading is psychology. And I would think it was a load of nonsense, like it didn't make any sense. I figured, if I found the right strategy, if I just listened to the right person, everything else would just take care of itself. But unfortunately, I was wrong. I was wrong for sure. For years, at least like 2 years, give or take, like damn near pushing 3 years. Uh, I bounced between strategies. One week I convinced myself, oh my god, it's all working. Like I've 100% found the holy grail. And then the next week, I'd abandon it after a few losses. I'd switch indicators. I'd change rules, take random trades, and then wondered why I wasn't making any progress. Because to me, I thought I was doing very well. The reality, sadly, was it wasn't the strategy that was the problem, it was me. And it's not because I wasn't smart enough. I think anyone can do this, but unfortunately that's not how it works. But, approaching trading with the wrong mindset is definitely what got me to at least a lower moment, in the beginning. But after took some time and understood, then I started to improve a little bit, and I feel like the biggest issue with a lot of people when they first start off trading is the need to be right. The need to be right. The first psychological mistake like that held me back personally was definitely the need to be right. Thinking that you would actually be you're 100% correct. Like if it doesn't work out this way, it's not going to, like, you cannot predict the markets as you expect. So, every losing trade, for me at least, felt personal, especially when I felt the need to be right in the beginning. If I lost, I would feel like I kind of failed. So, what I would do? I would move my stop loss. I'd hold losers even longer than I should have. I'd be adding to losing positions, right? The worst psychology practically. And anything pretty much to avoid being wrong. But profitable trading, they don't judge themselves on an individual trade. They judge themselves on the execution of the trade. Like once I stopped trying to be right and started trying to follow my process, that for me changed everything, because the market doesn't care if you're right. It just cares if you're disciplined, if you're disciplined enough. And another thing is, like, one other thing that held me back was stopping the need to focus on action, like constantly, like taking a position, even if it wasn't there. Like the second shift was really when I realized trading is mostly waiting, almost like fishing, right? Like you wait for the fish to come, right? You set the reel, let it go out, and you just wait for the fish to come to you, right? It was incredibly like difficult for me. I wanted constant action. I wanted excitement. Like, I wanted to feel productive, if that makes sense. So I'd manufacture trades that didn't actually align with my strategy. I would convince myself that even mediocre setups were great setups. And every time I would pay for it, Eventually I realized something. The best traders aren't paid for activity. They're paid for patience. Some trades, some days now, I don't even trade. I don't trade at all some days. And it's completely fine. Like I just learned to understand that, because focusing on trades is usually just another form of entertainment, right? Like this is a business. You need to treat it as such. So for you to just constantly trade because you like the feeling of being in a position, that in and of itself will never work. It's like looking for another source of dopamine, and that's not our job here. Our job is to can be disciplined enough to consistently follow our rules so that we can extract a set amount of money from the markets over a long period of time. As simple as that. And another really big thing that helped me was like thinking in probabilities. Mark Douglas, very famous guy. He's 100% was one of the, I mean, the first guy that kind of taught me to think in probabilities, or even what thinking in probabilities was. The biggest like breakthrough for me, I would say, like when I stopped looking for trades individually. Instead, I thought like in probabilities, basically. So most traders, like every trade, people think it's like life or death, which is terrible. But one trade, when you think about it over a long period of time, technically means nothing. If you look over 100 trades, a one trade should not kill you, if that makes sense. Like a casino, for example, right? For all my, gambling, all the people that love to gamble and shit, I've definitely partaken in that endeavor a couple of times, but I haven't for a few years now, and I hope to keep it that way. But you gotta think of it like a casino. The casino doesn't care about one hand of blackjack. One hand of blackjack will not ruin the casino, right? It cares about thousands of hands. So over, you could take a sample size of over 1,000 setups, right? One is completely, it's nothing. One win over 1,000 is only one result, right? Because you got to think about it as a career. You're doing this long term. So how do you expect to win long term? You need discipline, you need an edge, you need an actual, like a proper strategy and the right psychology and discipline. So, once I truly understand that losing, trades, like when that stopped affecting me emotional, that was like one part kind of to the solution, because at the end of the day, one loss shouldn't define your strategy. If one loss defines your strategy isn't the issue. It's 100% you, because you letting one trade define your entire career is insane. How do you expect to perform long term if you do that? You will 100% lose eventually. When you lose, it'll be catastrophic. So you always have to think in probabilities and like one simple outcome, right? And just have it over a long period of time, a long sample size. That's what I feel like works best. And a lot of that is really just thinking in probabilities. You don't think about today, you think about the next 100 days. So whatever you do today, right? Whatever habit you develop will carry over. And if it's a bad habit, imagine how that one bad habit will affect the next 100 trades, because it could give you a completely different result. You could genuinely be winning, but that one habit can cause you to lose. And that's the difficult part of trading. You really have to figure out how to break that habit. And habit, once is a mistake, but twice is the start of a new habit, unfortunately. So always be mindful. Always be mindful. I think also detaching self-worth from your P&L, right? If you lose, it's not the end of the world. It's not end all be all. You are not a lesser human being for losing a trade. It's just one trade, bro. Like, you'll be completely fine. This I think is the most important lesson for people to learn, because it's the hardest one to break, because trading will take its own form. It's like another part of your life. For a long time, I tied my confidence to my trading performance, which degraded my mind long term. Whenever I would take a loss, I'd be very sad at the start of the day. It would be very difficult for me. Green day, I would always feel amazing. And if it was red, I felt terrible. My emotions were controlled by the numbers on a screen. Imagine having numbers psychologically for you become your self-worth. That's terrible for your psychology. Probably the worst thing possible, because I'm going to be very honest, everyone on this planet is unique and incredible in their own way. Everyone. Numbers are just numbers. It means nothing in life. Materialistic items, nothing. Your mind, the way you think, the way you feel, those are the things that matter most. Whatever makes you most happy, that's what matters. Obviously, like, I hope they're happy, like healthy things, right? That's what matters most. Making sure it's actually good for you, physically and mentally. But regardless, it's very dangerous to have your trading be aligned with your confidence. That's truly, like, it's like a roller coaster. It's constantly up and down, because you're never gonna always win in trading. You are going to have losses. You're gonna have losing streaks, and it's all in how you learn to deal with it. That's what's going to define you long term. So, becoming, I would say, like, when I learned to separate my identity from my results, a losing day kind of it went away. Like winning day felt okay, losing day felt okay. It's just like consistent execution. That's what was my main focus long term, just consistently executing. That I feel like should be the main focus for everyone. And truly, when I made that shift to executing long, like, consistently not caring if it was a win or a loss, I became more stable. I would say the setups, the way I would take my positions would improve. And ironically, like, my results would improve as well, that's that's a lot of it, I would say. The biggest thing I would say is accepting that it's going to take time, especially when you first start off trading. It's truly the definition of a marathon, not a sprint, right? The final psychological shift, at least for me, was accepting that this process will take time. For most people, I'd say people get into trading because they want to escape their 9 to 5, they want freedom. I believe in all that, and I thank God that I'm able to do this. There are a lot of people on this earth that they have to work, they have to feed their families, and it's very important, and they get stuck in these 9 to 5s. I know I was definitely one of them before. I'll talk about in another video, my past. But fast money, quick success, it's nothing. It does that as fast as it comes is as fast as it'll go. The markets will humble you. Have your expectations like mellowed. The higher expectations, I mean, you want to have high expectations and high aspirations, but you need to be very mindful of yourself, because those expectations can come from a place of greed. And especially with trading, obviously it's very lucrative. There's a lot of money you can make. And long term, obviously you can succeed and change your life, but you need to understand that it will take time. It took me years of journaling, years of refining my process. Once I stopped the shortcuts, that's when I finally actually started to attain the results. You had to like really hone in, really take those beatings, let that psychology kind of like sit, learn over time, kind of like just take it step by step, as simple, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and let it build up over time, and the results will come as a fact. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, is your strategy probably isn't the biggest thing holding you back. Your psychology is. The need to be right, the need for action, the emotional attachment to money, the obsession with every individual trade, right? Your confidence tied to every single trade. Those are the things that quietly destroy a trader if he does not focus on them, if he does not improve them. And the day I started working on those issues was the day my trading began to change. It didn't change immediately, but it started. And that's the point, to start. And you just take your time, right? You don't let it overwhelm yourself. You take your time, okay? That's what matters most. Because if you try to do everything in one day, you will burn out and you will stop. But if you make little improvements and make the habit of doing a little part every day, long term, you're going to see the results you're looking for, right? But you need to take those steps on a daily basis. And that's exactly how you'll improve. If you enjoyed this video, let me know which psychological challenge you're currently dealing with in the comments below. The journey to consistently profitable trading is a very long one, and it's rigorous. It is difficult. It is not for everyone, honestly. I think anyone can do it, but you really have to put yourself in a position you're not used to. You have to be very honest and truthful with yourself. You have to peel yourself like an onion with all your different layers and figure out every single part of you that actually goes into every thought, right? And be mindful of the things you say and the things you do, right? Every habit you have to understand all those things. Your most important job in trading isn't the charts, it's you. Just like in life, the most important project you'll work on is yourself. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening to my video. I really do hope it helped. And please, if there's anything at all that you guys would like me to continue to talk about, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear, from you guys. But yeah, generally just let me know. Let me know if you want what you want me to talk about. I'm 100%, I'm always there. So let me know. Thank you again and have a blessed day. Peace.